Throughout my spiritual journey, there was one particular spiritual concept that has stuck with me, not only in my magical practices, but in my everyday practical life as well. So today, I'm going to break down the 7 Hermetic laws. Now, you can find these 7 Hermetic principles written in the Kabbalion, written by the 3 initiates. They come from Hermes Tristmagustus, which is also named Thoth or Tahuti. He was the first alchemist or teacher of Kim back in that time. These teachings are said to have dated all the way back to 1 AD or even earlier than that. So they are one of the first ancient teachings or spiritual concepts that is rooted in a lot of, mostly all of the occult knowledge and spiritual principles and practices today, as well as the practical living world. So these are very important for everybody on any type of path. First law is the law of mentalism, which states all is mind. In the book of the Kabbalion, they call God or Source the All, and pretty much what this law is saying that God or the All created everything that you see today. Everything that's in this material world and even the spiritual world and all that there is was created or was in the mind of God or is still in the mind. So we're all connected because we are all part of the mind of God. Your life is a depiction of what's going on in your mind. Everything originates in the mind first and then is manifested on this material plane. So you can actually change the course of your life by changing the course of your mind and the things that you think about. The second law is the law of correspondence, which is pretty much as above, so below. Everything that's created on the physical plane, the denser, lower level planes of existence, also has its correspondence in higher planes of existence. And this can work to your benefits because you can actually understand, if you can understand the more about your life here on earth, your physical existence, you can then use that information to maneuver and work on higher planes of existence. They call this alchemy. By learning how things work and move and proceed here on earth, 9 times out of 10, there will be a correspondence on a higher level of existence. That's how people, magicians and sorcerers and mystics and people in magic and the occult and things like that learn how to maneuver and work energy by learning about what's going on the physical plane. Anything that you see, do, or receive here on this physical level, just know there is something on the higher level that is equally in correspondence to that. Now, the next law is considered the law of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything is moving. Everything is going. Frequencies are continuing to flow. All right. This is where they get the law of attraction from, understanding the law of vibration. Because when you understand the law of vibration, when you understand that everything has a vibrational pattern, and that pattern is continuous and continuous, you understand how things are repelled away from you and attracted to you by this law. You can understand that and incorporate in your life when you are trying to build and when you are trying to attract things to you. Money has a vibrational frequency, and if you can understand that everything has a pattern and that pattern is constantly going, constantly changing, and constantly working, you can actually shift your vibrational frequency to match that of the things that you want and bring that to you by just understanding this law alone. The fourth law is one of my favorite laws, and it's the law of polarity. I can never say that word. It's the law of polarity, which basically means that there is no good or bad, no right or wrong. Everything is pretty much on the same spectrum, different in degrees, but same in nature. All right, hot and cold are subjective. At what point does hot stop being hot and cold stop being cold? They're basically all one and the same. So we can look at this in our lives when you think of things being bad. A lot of times people, if you are like me, who struggle with a lot of depression and anxiety, you have pretty much a black and white thinking. Things is or it isn't. And, it's good or it's bad. It's no in between. But when you look at the law of polarity, which is the truth of the matter, you can see that they're really all the same thing. And so when you want to change a situation from being not ideal to ideal, all you have to do is move just a couple notches this way, to the left. It's really not that far from where you're trying to be. If you think that where you're at is bad and where you want to be is good, there really is no good or bad. So all it is just a tick on the spectrum. And when you look at it that way, it seems more easily obtainable because all you have to do is just move, a little bit more to the right, so to speak. Polarity pretty much just states that it just shows you the yin and yang, that things can actually, by your will, you don't have to move to one extreme or the other. You can stay right there in the middle, complacent. You don't have to go all the way on this end or all the way on that end. And essentially, it's all the same anyways. So with that knowledge, you can actually just move your life and position it to where you want, because everything is all the same. Difference in degrees, the same in nature. Okay, so the next law is the law of rhythm, which is basically like the last two laws, the law of polarity, the law of vibration. It pretty much just states everything has its flows, everything has its tides, everything has its seasons. Like the saying, what goes around comes around, what goes up must come down. Like one of those things. This is why nations rise and fall. This is why people have and then not have. You may be up one day and down the next because everything fluctuates. And so when you can understand this law, you can see that nothing's wrong with you when you have good days and then bad days. Nothing's wrong when you seem to have money this day and then be broke the next. Nothing's wrong with you when you win some and then you lose some. You have everything and then you lose it all the next day, because this is just a part of life. This is a part of existence. This is a part of experience, right? We're here to build on our experience and learn. So you can use this to really be grateful for any season that you're in, because nothing is going to last. So if you're in a good season, just know that that season of your life is not going to last. Not saying that, the next season may be dark. No, but just whatever season you're in, it's not going to last. So you can appreciate the moment. So if you're in a good season, appreciate that, because it's not going to last. If you're in a bad season, appreciate that, because you can learn from that experience, and that it's not going to last. Everything's in flow. Kind of everything's in motion. Everything's vibrating. Everything's moving. Things are always changing. Change is inevitable. It's a part of life. So you have to learn to go with the flows of the currents to stay grounded, to stay here, and to stay, present with what's going on. Okay, so the sixth law is the law of cause and effect. This law pretty much just states that for every cause, there is an effect. And for every effect, there was a cause. So, and it doesn't matter how small that action is. So you have to think about, this law will keep you rooted in thinking about what it is that you are doing, your actions, and the decisions you're making. Because essentially, people like to get overly spiritual, and when things go wrong, they want to blame the devil or some unseen force, or, God. Or when things go right, even, they want to blame, oh, God's blessing me, this, and that. But really what's happening is there was a cause that is now coming into effect. And it doesn't matter how long ago that cause, everything that you have done in your life up until this point, everything you will do until the day you are in the ground, and you are now a spirit again, and even after that will have some type of rippling effect. Even the things that you did in past lives will have an effect on what happened. Additionally, the things that you've done in your last life will still have an effect on this life today. So you want to kind of keep that in mind as you go throughout your life and as you make choices, because your choices will have an effect. That just keeps you rooted in your choices, making you live with purpose, because it's not no spooky fairy god man angel thing in the sky waiting to bless you and get you out of things. Really, essentially, you are playing your own god in life, because your choices is what's affecting your outcome. So if you want something, if you want a better life, if you want money, if you want, fame, if you want talent, whatever, you have to work at these things. You have to put in the actions. So behind those actions, though, there is a reaction. So just keep that in mind when you make the choices that you make in your life. All right, so for the last and final law is the law of gender. And this law states that everything has a masculine and feminine principle. Okay, light and dark, yin and yang, good and bad, right, left and right. Pretty much anything that you can think about is there's going to be a masculine and a feminine principle behind this. Now, the masculine force is the action-driven force, the one that is calculated, the one that's logical, the straight line, the force that creates. Now, puts the creation in motion, puts the thing in flow. Now, the feminine aspect is the creative aspect, the emotional aspect, the receptive aspect, the one that thinks, the one that feels, the one that forms the creation, right? The masculine puts it into motion, but the creative aspect forms it, puts it together so that it can go into motion. So you need one or the other. One is not better than the other. One's not worse than the other. You need both. This world is fixed on masculine and feminine principles. Why they said that, or they feel like God is just masculine, I don't understand, because this world is built off masculine and feminine. That is just the way things are. And so the source that created it wouldn't just be one or the other. It would be half of what it is, if it was that way. So, and it wouldn't have the full effect of its own creative process. So masculine and feminine governs the world. And this is pretty much what that law is stating. That goes deeper than sex too. It's not just about sex. This is about creation in general. Now, having the physical act of sex between a man and a woman is just the physical symbolic representation of how creation is made off of the masculine and feminine aspect of things. So you keep that in mind. In order for anything to work in your life, you need to have both the action orientated side, but also the creative receptive side. So you should be able to sit back, analyze, create, focus that way. But then you also need to be able to physically get up, get active, get your hands dirty, get in there and do what you need to do. You need to have both in order to create anything. So those were the 7 principles. I hope that you guys like this. I really wish that you guys would apply these principles to your life. See how you guys can apply these principles to your life. Meditate on these principles and use them every day you live. And I promise you, they're going to elevate your life in ways that you just have no idea.